All right, Panic Porcupine, great stuff. We love these indie games coming out by people. This one is trickier because it's a collaboration of two studios. So, Shiny Dolphins and Spicy Heroes, why don't you introduce yourselves and tell us about the game, how you developed it, and show us some of its wonderment.
I'm Kevin, aka Shiny Dolphin. Justin is Spicy Hero, and we've made a couple games together already. Clash Force and Polyroll, which are both out on Steam and console, and we're both big fans of Sonic the Hedgehog, and we'd been making games that were sort of inspired by it, but this is the first time we tried to actually recreate the physics a little bit. So Panic Porcupine is a momentum-based precision platformer, bite-sized levels, but you have to speed up and maintain momentum to get through the sections. So I'll go ahead and get started. So you have to collect all of the Chickabirbs in every level. These eggs are like a completionist system. And you see, I didn't quite get up there. I didn't have enough speed. So the main element of the game is figuring out how to get enough speed to do what you need to do. So there I was able to roll, and rolling decreases the friction and lets you move faster. And if I get all the eggs... Downhill. Yeah, go ahead.
What? I said when going downhill.
Yes. But the eggs are optional. I didn't have to get all the eggs, so I won't do that this time. Ah. And it's one hit kill. So it's sort of a, again, precision platformer formula. And if you don't get all the eggs, that happens. And it's kind of a speedrunning game too, so there's sort of optimal paths through every level. I can go back to the first one and try and improve my time. There's all kinds of little tricks you can do. And it keeps track of your 3 best times. What should I do? We'd also, Clash Force and Polyroll were both written in QuickTeam Fusion. And that's because Justin and I both grew up using that software, so we're both very familiar with it. And he'd made Clash Force and Polyroll earlier, and then I helped import those. But then because we were both familiar with Fusion, when we moved to Unity, we tried to recreate the workflow of Fusion to some extent, because we're both used to collaborating in that workflow. So that's one of the cooler tech things we have in here. This is sort of running on... It's a custom game engine, but it's inspired by how QuickTeam Fusion's programming system worked. Which there's actually a Siege talk from a couple years ago on the GGDA YouTube where I talk about that system a little bit. And Justin does the level design and the art, and I do the programming. Every world has these kind of bigger, more open levels too, where you can play around with all the mechanics that you learned in the previous levels. Although this first world is more of a tutorial world than the others. You may notice these levels don't seem particularly hard. The game gets much harder. So every world also has a boss. I'll show this one. So all of this first world is in a free demo that's on Steam and itch right now. So you can play all of the first world. And then I'm going to show some of the later worlds next. As far as narrative design, it's very simple in this game. The evil Dr. Proventriculus has stolen all of your chicken friends. Chickabirb friends, I'm sorry. And is planning to make fried chicken with them, so you have to rescue them. So this is the Circus World. This is one of the levels where we open up the speed a little bit. See, I had to gain enough speed to get all those eggs. If I wasn't moving fast enough, I wouldn't have gone as high. And we have the classic cannons from Donkey Kong Country. The eggs are a lot harder to get in these later levels. You really have to think hard. This one's fun because you can play with the physics. It's like this little skate park almost. It gives you a lot of chances to practice with the gravity and everything. Oops. I'll go to one of the later worlds.
Yeah, show a hard one. Yeah, that one.
Oh no! It's an instinctive jump. Instinctual? That part looks like it would be crazy with the timing, but you have a lot of control over when the jump happens. No.
Hesitated.
That's not gonna work.
Yeah, I don't know if you have a new build here, but I did some tweaking on the camera. I don't know when you made this build.
Couple days ago, actually.
Okay, you won't have it then. I don't even know if I published it, but yeah, that saw right here. I did some camera tweaking so you get a glimpse of it a little sooner.
Oh, that's good. Yeah,
it's subtle, but
it was a little blind before.
Yeah, I mean, you can only do so much. Obviously, you got to be able to predict where the player is going to head, and you don't want to mislead them, and you don't want to take away sort of their options, right? You don't want to say, oh, the camera's only pointed this way. You want the player to have the option of going back, or so it's just a balancing act. But
that's been one great thing about our collaboration is I can play the levels he makes. I mean, he's able to beat these levels easily, and I'm more of a realistic test case most of the time. If you're trying to psych me out, it's working.
hey,
Can I always get under that if I roll?
I don't think so.
Okay, it almost looked like maybe. Oh no. I'll try and get these eggs. Nope.
Oh, yeah, I love speedrunning this level. This is one of my favorites.
Nope.
Oh.
Okay, let's try a different level. I'll show something from Winter. This is my favorite level, actually.
Show them if you do it wrong. Oh, okay.
Why should I show them doing it wrong?
Well, because it's still kind of fun to just roll down the hill without stopping.
That's true.
First thing you have to go back up. Yeah, there's some crazy speedrunning techniques in that level that I pulled off. Pretty fun. This is one of the levels Keon worked on.
Yeah, we've been working with another level designer on this one.
His levels tended to get dropped into the end of the game because they were pretty brutal.
Oh no, I forgot a chicken.
I'd love to hear how you're collaborating with the third level designer. You two have obviously worked together before and have a good sense of what the other's doing. Justin's making this art and can create new art when he needs something and talk to Kevin about new functionality. How's it going with that third designer? Are they just putting in the elements you've already created, or are they requesting new features and art as well?
They are not requesting anything new. I will say that when we brought someone else in, we were fairly late in development already. So we had a lot of gimmicks already come up with. And so I just wanted someone who could come at it like a fresh perspective and maybe do some things with stuff that I had made that I didn't even think of how to sort of connect it together. So, it's just a contract type relationship where he comes in and makes a handful of levels for us. Actually haven't met him in person yet. Yeah, there hasn't. There's so much stuff in the game already that he hasn't asked for anything. I will say that there's some things he's implemented or ways he's combined things together that have sort of pushed our engine, like the things that I didn't test. And so it sort of broke some things or unveiled some things about our engine that wasn't 100%. So that was kind of valuable in that way.
Yeah, it's been good. It's sort of stress tested it, and we are able to make calls if it's easy to improve the engine, we do it, and sometimes it's pointed out places where we just have a fundamental issue that maybe we'd have to address in the next game, and we I've gone sometimes too.
I've gone back through the levels that he sent me. I actually just this isn't one of them, but I sort of asked him to just give me the bones of a level, so to speak. So he just has sort of an outline of it, I guess. It's not, he doesn't fill in all the art and the texture and stuff to sort of create the visual completion of it. So I've gone back and done a little bit of tweaking. There's places maybe where I go, okay, the engine just isn't going to withstand this tight corridor or this design mechanic, and I'll adjust it accordingly. But it's been a really good process. No issues.
Do you find that using Unity allows you to bring in new people more easily?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, just not even necessarily anything Unity does specifically, just the fact that other people actually use it. There's just not that many people familiar with ClickTeam Fusion. And I guess the other aspect of it is I don't know how the pricing Unity. I think we would have had to buy another full version copy of Fusion for him to get involved, which would cost us a few $100, $500 or something like that.
And more than that, the ramp up time.
Right, and then we'd have to teach. I mean, Fusion is extremely easy to learn. I mean, I wouldn't have had any question. If you can use the tile editor in Unity, you'd be able to pick up Fusion. But yeah, that's a little weird, I guess, to try and bring someone into that. And then obviously the collaboration features Unity has makes it easier to drop someone else in there and say, add you to the project, and away you go.
Now, you talked a little about testing. I'm really fascinated about how the two of you handle testing. Obviously, Kevin is working on the coding. Tools get handed off to Spicy Hero, Justin, and Justin makes levels that then go back to Kevin to mess up on or to successfully run. But that's the baseline testing. Tell us about all the rest you do.
That's it so far. We're trying to get the game as far along as possible before we start the QA testing. You know, it's not a super long game, and so it's not like we're making an 80-hour RPG or something, and we need people testing a year before the game is out. But we're actually, that's sort of, tomorrow is sort of like the official first day of like pushing towards like a QA ready build, and then we'll work with a few QA testers. But I mean, we've been working on this for about a year and a half or so. I mean, I've tested it pretty aggressively. Just the design of the game, like the fact that this is a game where you're going to die a lot and you're going to replay levels over and over, means that like every one of these levels I've played like 1,000 times in all sorts of ways. So there's been a lot of testing already of the engine and stuff.
And that's kind of the workflow we used on Polyroll as well. We did a lot of internal testing first, and then got some really, I mean, we did a lot of level design iteration on Polyroll before putting it in the hands of any official QA testers, but also we go to conventions and things, and the events in Atlanta, the game developer events in Atlanta, like ATL Game Devs at my parents' basement, and we get a lot of useful feedback and play testing input from those too. Kind of ad hoc QA, I guess.
Even just the demo release on Steam, we've gotten some people posting on Steam about issues they've had.
Right. This is also the first game where we're tracking things like where people died. So kind of like Mario Maker, we can see a heat map of the worst. Oh no. That's probably one of them.
So I'd love to talk about the difference between the Steam and itch.io demo audiences. You're talking about getting good feedback from the Steam one. I would tend to think that the itch audience would be more developer focused, but you're doing better with the Steam one on feedback?
I mean, I guess it's, yeah, I mean, it's just a matter of how many people are playing your game, and I guess the issue is, you know, we were fortunate that Steam, we're currently in, what is it, Next Fest. So that's boosted our visibility beyond anything close to what we had previously. I mean, the Steam page for this game's only been up since March. So our wish lists have tripled during Next Fest. I'm not going to say they're great or anything, but they're better than they were. Whereas Itch, I was just talking to Kevin about this because we actually have the game playable in browser on Itch right now, and apparently once you like take out all Steam's bot traffic, like we've got way more players on Itch. But we just haven't gotten, I guess maybe because there's not really a forum, there's just a comment section, so we haven't really gotten. I mean, we haven't gotten that much feedback regardless. I mean, we've only had like a couple of posts on Steam, so it's not like dramatic. But yeah, I don't like. I literally like went on Itch and typed Panic into the search bar, and this game didn't come up. But if I type Porcupine, it does. So I really don't even understand how Itch's search feature works. Like, it makes no sense.
You're in that very powerful Porcupine genre, but not.
I guess so. Yeah, it was. You know, I thought, only games called Panic are showing up, but there were all sorts of games with Panic in the name that showed up. So I don't know what's going on there, but yeah, we'll see. I mean, we only put the Itch page up a couple days ago, so whereas the Steam page has been up since March.
That's pretty fast, and we've got links to both of those in the chat. And you basically talk about the Next Fest. Vicarious PR was asking everyone what their favorite stuff out of the Next Fest was. I got to talk about you all there too, so I'm glad that worked well for you.
Sweet.
Wonder J asked on YouTube, how long have you been working on this game?
Yeah, I guess a year and a half or so. I think we started it over 2 years ago, but we started it as a side project. We were working on a bigger project that we had to put down for a couple of reasons. Or put down, like not like a dog, like just to set it down. We set it down for a couple of reasons and decided to focus on this game. So I guess it's been about a year and a half since we started working on this full time. Well, full time as in this is the only game we're working on. We both have full-time jobs, so this is pretty much a weeknight, weekend type gig.
Excellent. Glad to see it coming together. You talked about going to conventions. You took this to MomoCon, didn't you?
We did for one day,
Oh.
and that was really helpful. I got some good feedback, and it's also just fun to watch people play. It's what makes it all worth it, right? So.
Very cool. Will it be at Southern Fried Gaming Expo?
Yes.
Excellent. So everyone watching, next time you can play this will be Southern Fried Gaming Expo. First, you can download the demo right now. We have those links in chat. So first, I'll put it up the itch.io one again, so we can boost their numbers.
Yeah, and you can play it immediately on there.
Oh, play in browser there? Excellent.
Yeah, we've got a play in browser up.
Excellent. So, okay, last question then. How easy was it to implement that?
We got somewhat lucky. Oh, I forgot these aren't working.
Yeah, don't show that they're broken. Why are you stopping?
Don't look at that.
Ignore the porcupine behind the curtain.
Yeah, I guess. So it's part because the engine is written kind of like ClickTeam Fusion. Like every feature is done in a certain way. Like there's sort of a standard architecture to how we're implementing features on this game, and it happens to be very compatible with WebGL's limitations. And we already had save files abstracted so that it could go into player prefs or onto the disk or onto a console save. So yeah, I mean, it was surprisingly just worked, basically. I was not anticipating that, actually.
Yeah, like the eggs were the only thing you had to change, right?
Right, because the eggs, we do some multi-threading stuff to color the eggs at the beginning of the level to make sure that you don't have like two blue ones next to each other, and the multi-threading was the only thing that didn't work on WebGL. So I just made it completely random on the WebGL build.
It's funny because I saw as soon as I went to the web build, I started noticing like clusters of orange eggs next to each other again.
Yeah.
But anyway, most
It's
people
crazy
won't
how
notice.
helpful it is to not have that. Or noticeable, anyway.
Always interesting, those little differences. All right, excellent. Panic Porcupine. They've got the link shared. Kevin, why don't you play through just a little bit more while I talk about what's coming up in SimFest? Oh, Fucking Nut on YouTube just talks about how easy I'll make this look, both for playing and developing. He says, I know games rarely get made overnight, but the polish and playability rarely shine in this one now. So, always fun to have people who saw it before see it again. All right, excellent. All right, so we're going to get Kevin to keep playing, and we'll talk a little about what's coming up in SimFest today. Next up, we're going to have Justin Jacobson, who's written extensively on legal issues related to game developers, and I'll share links to some of his books in the chat during his presentation. Going to share on IP issues, both to be generating your own IP and using, intellectual properties. Generating your own intellectual properties, protecting them, and using other people's. So, Kevin and Justin, I hope you keep an eye on that, because I really want that Panic Porcupine t-shirt, breakfast cereal, and movie. No idea why this could be a good movie, but I think we've got some examples now how it could work. So, also, we will have Siege coming up October 7th to 9th, with the presentations online again October 7th to 8th. So we will put up the speaker submission form in a minute for everybody to enjoy. So on top of that, we'll be having some giveaways soon. And I know, we'll give away a Panic Porcupine demo. Oh wait, that's already being done. So maybe I'll give away some Emperor the Fading Sun, since we've been having so much fun with that recently. And maybe I'll do some other game demos later in the day. But what we're going to do right now is I'm going to take Kevin and Justin into the GGDA Voice General channel. If you have questions, please go ask them there. They'll hang out for a short bit. And maybe I can give you all the ability to share screen. You can keep playing this there. That's not a bad idea. All right. So I am going to move them over, and I'll be back in about 5 minutes with Justin Jacobson on Game Dev IP Protection. See you all soon. Thank you, Kevin and Justin.
Thanks, Andrew.